It's like having a rock pile with water in it.
It's all water flowing downhill.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna go for no pleasure boat ride.
I jumped overboard about 50 miles an hour.
The body feels what's happened a day later.
Boats crash, boats sink, motors blow.
I mean, everybody wants to get in the winter circle.
Not up all night working on your boat, it's just not racing.
Yeah, I've heard about this river. They said it's really hard on boats.
This is the river here that tests engines, no doubt.
If I can walk away from the salmon, I can walk away from this one.
It's you against the river.
I'm ready to rock and roll.
Welcome to the U.S. Championship Jet Boat Race Marathon, a test of skill and endurance for man and machine. Hi, I'm Darrell Romaine, above Oregon's Rogue River, one of 3 whitewater rivers boaters must navigate in one of racing's most exciting events.
Dean Miles, 11:08.
It all starts with a driver's meeting in the blue of an Idaho morning.
Val Ramsdell, 11:10.
The legendary River of No Return awaits those who would challenge its whitewater. It's race day in Riggins, hosting the first leg in the U.S. Jet Boat Race Marathon. In boat 357, it's Donnie Smith out of White City, Oregon. In boat 354, Mark Cromie, New Zealand's 3-time world champion and defending unlimited class U.S. champion. Look for local talent in Grangeville, Idaho's Chuck Thompson. Jeff Laird out of Gold Beach, Oregon, here to defend his claim to the A-Class U.S. Championship. Boat 244 brings Dwayne Longfellow to the salmon from Lewiston, Idaho. In boat 222, it's Bruce Mills out of Salem, Oregon. Boat 301 finds veteran salmon racer Bob Durkin out of Trail, British Columbia. Look for Jake Wyatt of Lewiston, Idaho in boat 237. Another veteran Lewiston racer, Dean Miles, pilots boat 212. Canada's Spencer King is here in boat 388 from Hay River in the Northwest Territory. Defending B-Class world champion Val Ramsdell here from Medford, Oregon in boat 111. Jeff Edwardson from Lewiston, Idaho in boat 251. And in boat 172 from Red Deer, Alberta, it's Alex Miller. That's the field for the 14th annual running of the Salmon River Jet Boat Race. Drivers face 5 major rapids traveling from Whitebird to the finish at Riggins City Park. 33 miles of wild river awaiting man and machine.
You have to be real safe and you have to kind of run by your gut feeling of what's up ahead. You have to be pretty careful. You have to watch for rollers. You get rollers in the river, you know, where they're kind of humps in the water, and you can hit one of them and get airborne, and then you're out of control.
I come from a town of Whangarei, which is a town north of Auckland, about 185 k's, so it's the top of New Zealand, but I was born in the real jet boating country, which is on the Rakaia River in the South Island.
This is only my 3rd year racing, but last year, the day after, I couldn't wait until it was here again. I mean, it was just like, God, 364 more days to go. I mean, it's a countdown for me the whole time.
We're hard charging at times, but in the whitewater, it seems to be a little bit slower probably than most, but the boat's running pretty good, and that's what it takes. You got to finish.
I've been racing for 7 years. I love putting the boat together, and my crew does, and we just come down and have a good time, and we like to be competitive, and I think we're going to be real competitive this year.
We're running a Ford 416 motor with, you know, a hull, and it's making good power. It's working. It's running.
Ready to have some fun and excitement here. Got a fine feeling it's going to be all adrenaline.
The river's tough, it's so low. Just rocks everywhere. It's like having a rock pile with water in it. You know, it's Jesus. You'd see them right in the middle of the river, flying up the river 90 miles an hour, and you look up there and a big rock sticking out. You know, it is.
Well, it's nervous as hell before the flag drops, and once the flag drops, you get your foot in the old foot throttle there and hold on the steering wheel.
This boat is capable of doing 95, but I don't think I'll crank it up that high this trip.
This is my first run as a driver. I rode as a passenger several times. I'm gonna go out and have some fun.
I was actually one of the participants in the first Salmon River race in '84. There it is, first race of the season, toughest river, whitewater river you're going to find.
All of the boats safely passed Black Hawk Rapids, with speeds on the flat water approaching 100 miles an hour. But Box Canyon lies in ambush. A spinout takes James Wyatt in boat 237 out of the race. Racers are soon in the rough again, facing huge rollers in the rapids at Ladder Creek.
Oh. You have no time to do anything else but drive the boat.
Definitely these rocks are attached to America, and I don't want to hit one. We made a mistake last year and it cost us dearly. Like, we rolled our boat, we sunk it, we lost it for 30 hours, we had to get a helicopter in to pick it out, and that was really expensive, and we don't want to do that here.
On the lower end, we'll be hitting our max 104. When we come up to the rapids, we'll probably be hitting 50, 60 miles an hour.
The rapids deliver booming blows, but only precious time is lost. Another angle gives another look at this treacherous passage. Drivers force their way upriver, where the rush of Fiddle Creek Rapids await. Oregon's Donnie Smith pours on the power as his ride roars ever closer to Chair Creek Rapids.
You have to pay a lot of attention because, you know, you could get a gust of wind and it has picked these boats up and spun them around and stuff.
We just give it our best shot on the day, and we got a lot of horsepower. I just don't want to use it all the time, you know. Now, the current flows are enormous, and that's what you have to treat with respect, is the amount of pressure that water's got travelling in a different direction. And this is still some big waves, because most of these boats out here are like ours. They're like 18 to 22 feet. It isn't a big boat.
You're gonna have to drive through them. You just can't go as fast as you can to get through them. You're gonna have to actually slow down because there's just so many rocks sticking out everywhere.
It can be a bit of a rush. It can be a bit scary too. You bugger up on top of a rapid and the motor stalls and starter wire falls off or something, and you go down in backwards.
Running wide open is probably not going to get it because you'll hit something. Keep it up there fast, but don't push it.
It's kind of a personal challenge just being able to conquer the river.
You can't get that thrill in anything else that you can legally drive on the street or anything else. It's a legal way to have fun.
A lot of times on the salmon, there's no choice.
You've got to run right down the center and hold on.
Up the river and under the bridge. The rapids at Time Zone are all that stand between racers and the finish line.
13 boats started and 11 completed the first leg. One boat sank in Time Zone and one boat got into trouble down at Box Canyon. Spencer King in boat 388 starts at 2:05.
Starting times for the return trip downriver are greeted with long faces.
We had a rough time getting up. We wrecked in Lucille. Our bow line fell out when we caught some air and wrapped around our steering nozzle, and we spun out and about filled the boat up with water.
We just basically put on a layer of we call it 78-mile-an-hour duct tape because that's as fast as we can go.
After 2 hours for rest, repairs, and refueling, the marathon resumes.
Time on the water is the key. It's hard to put a guy that's fresh on the water and assume that he's going to do well.
Guy's just going to have to line up, pick his slots, drive straight, don't drive over your head. Just drive, drive reasonable.
If you put a hot run upstream, you've got to be careful going downstream that you actually end up in those rapids in the right place, because in a boat doing sort of 100 mile an hour coming up to them and it's boiling white water, you've got to pick the right channel.
I'd rather go downriver myself. Running up, everybody says you can see better. I think myself personally, running down, I can see better.
We have 625 horse right now in our boat. We're running our spare engine. This race, you don't need to go that fast to win.
We boat a lot up north, and my father, he puts a lot of time and effort into it, and I enjoy it. Motorsports, anything to do with speed, boats, bikes, cars. But we own the boat, so might as well use it.
When you're coming down, there's a lot of places where you're into a rapid before you even really know you're there.
It is one of the more difficult on equipment, harder on equipment rivers compared to a lot of the other ones. A lot of the other rivers are flat water drag races, and this has got the rapids. It's got some calm water, and it's got lots of short chop and pressure swells, and yeah, it makes for interesting. The body feels what's happened a day later when you're finished.
Even though a lot of the canyons look pretty straightforward, when you're actually at the water level, you'll come around the corner or something, all of a sudden the boat will be 5–10 feet in the air because you just bounced off a pressure wave. So you can't really relax.
All's well for those passing out of time zone. Yet at these speeds, it's only moments before the boats are back in the thick of the rapids at Chair Creek. Now the rapids at Fiddle Creek draw near. As Alex Miller's Outlaw Marine clears Fiddle Creek, Bruce Laird leads the pack into the lair at Ladder Creek. The downriver leg claims 3 boats by the time Blackhawk Rapids has come and gone, and the day of racing is done. Out of 13 boats that took on the salmon, only 8 remain for Sunday's final upriver run. Let's take another look at the first 2 legs of day 1.
And start up over the first little left and supposed to hit it just right of the rock. There's a big rock sticking out there and you're supposed to hit the roller just to the right, and evidently I missed it by 4 inches or 5, and I got to the left of the roller just a little bit, and it shoved me over into a rock, and I landed right on top of it. The rider had to get out and push the boat off the rock, and if that's all would have happened, we'd have been just fine. But we got it off the rock and started to go, and he couldn't get back in the boat, so I had to go up, turn around, and try to come back and get him, and that's when we landed on every rock in time zone. We got him back in and the boat and rocked it around and banged on it and wrapped on the motor, and we finally got the boat loose, and then we got into the rapids sideways. Damn near sunk the boat, excuse my language, and finally got it turned and got it up and got out of there. Oh yeah, everybody was clapping, and you know, everybody, hey, got out of there. You know, I was amazed. I was surprised we did. I thought we were done.
I lost my contacts going through Ladder Creek. Blew my goggles and my contacts out. I clipped a rock right here at Time Zone. Sent the nose up, or back end up. Landed on the nose.
King. Day 2 dawns under cloudy skies as racers look forward with an eye on the past.
I went on the bank once, and another time we were going so fast the air actually picked the boat clear up off the water, moved it over about 10 feet and sat it down. So that got our attention too. It was a real eye-opener.
You don't want to get too lax when you're out there, because it changes your whole mode in driving. You know, if you're in a groove, you feel comfortable, but when you get out of your groove, you're not the same driver. So, yeah, conservative at a point, but yes, we'll still run strong.
There's no room for error. You got to be right on your marks when you go through.
I'm real comfortable about today. I've run the river enough times now that I think I've got it pretty well set in my head where I'm going to go, and there's no way I can beat the 6 guys ahead of me, so I'm just going to have a nice day out on the river.
Race leader Jeff Laird heads up the last leg, looking once again at the roiling, boiling rapids of Ladder Creek. Rapids once again rough up the route ahead as racers enter Chair Creek.
A crowd is gathered at Time Zone. There isn't a racer on the river that hasn't heard of this rapid's appetite for destruction. After 99 miles of racing, only 6 boats are able to finish, with Jeff Laird of Gold Beach, Oregon taking the winning flag. His overall fastest time of 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 28 seconds captures the Idaho Cup, the first prize in the quest for the U.S. Championship Jet Boat Race Marathon.
We finished and the boat's still running good.
On to the Grants Pass in Klamath, California, and Gold Beach, Oregon.
The circuit and the challenge of navigating wild rivers promise more incredible racing ahead. But it will be hard to beat the excitement of the 14th annual Salmon River Jet Boat Race. Race results show Mark Cromie taking first place in the Unlimited class. Jeff Laird races to the A-class win. Val Ramsdell captures top honors in B-class. And Canada's Alex Miller comes out on top in C-class.
They do it because it's a love of the sport and a thrill, and you can't get it anyplace else, and it's legal.
Now the circuit turns south to Oregon, Grants Pass, and the Valley of the Rogue. It's Boatnik weekend, festival time, in a city where the climate is right for the U.S. Championships.
The water's real big now, it's real rough. Just take your time and pick good lines and just drive smooth.
Boyce, 901. Smith, 902. Soderberg, 903.
I think this run is real comparable to the Salmon in a lot of respects. It's got a lot of the tricky turns, a lot of the submerged rocks.
The race starts downtown, Grants Pass City Park, where the Rogue features a long stretch of flat water in the run-down river. Rough water awaits as racers face major tests at Dunn Riffle and Galice Rapids before reaching the finish. 16 boats are on the water, drivers facing 4 legs of racing on the wild Rogue. It's Justin Boyce, boat 316 of Gold Beach, Oregon, and 380 Steve Soderberg from Medford, entering the fray with Donnie Smith in the Unlimited class. A-class grows with Robbie Pierce of Gold Hill, Oregon on the river, boat 223,
facing Dwayne Longfellow, Jeff Laird, and Bruce Mills. Crowded B class brings Medford's Barry Pelkey in boat 116. It's the Rogue Valley's Ernie Fields pedaling boat 115. Eagle Point, Oregon's Ben Rasher in boat 109. And it's Dave Provost from Grants Pass in number 182. From Marysville, California, Jim Ventress, boat 139. From the Rogue Valley, 114, Joel Shepard. From Grants Pass, Terry Potratz drives 77. And Medford's Val Ramsdell in 111. Spectators await the running of the Rogue. That's the last boat to finish the first leg. The river has not been kind to all.
I cannot tell a lie, it was all her fault.
I have a feeling I probably got into it a little too hard.
We went real high. We were pretty close to the back end of Pelkey's boat and went over a couple of big green waves. And when the boat comes down, it just puts so much pressure on those pumps inside, on the intake side, that it just blew the top off it off.
It's a rough river at this water level. There's some pressure waves up there that you don't see, and you think you can run wide open, and the next thing you know, you're taking off. We're going to slow down going up a little bit because we had some close calls coming down, so I'm going to play it a little safe. We spent a lot of time in the air, and I had time to think, and I said, we need to slow down.
We pushed pretty hard, had a good time coming down, I think, passed the boat there, and feel pretty good about things. We're going to run hard again going up.
Got 3 legs left to go.
Swift. That's Dwayne there.
punishing run. Robbie Pierce, boat 223, is the last to clear Dunn Riffle.
Hey, it's better than jet boat racing. It's a tough sport.
Day 2 dawns cloudy and rainy above the strip of water called the Upper Rogue. Thoughts of the day that was are still fresh in a driver's mind.
We're doing about 85 miles an hour, and a pressure roller kind of snuck up on us, and we hit it, shot us up in the air about 20, 30 foot, and then it landed on this side of the boat, and the water pressure dented it in, spun us around, and it just set the front end up on the rocks, so we hopped out, pushed it off the rocks and fired it up, and away we went.
We had an exciting race yesterday.
We blew our oil cooler apart yesterday, and it was filling the boat up with water faster than the bilge pumps could pump it out.
And now the saga continues as the river is ready to write another chapter.
I like it when the river's down. A lot of these guys don't have as much river experience as I do, and they like it high, and it makes it easier. I actually wish the lower the better. It adds some technicality and more rocks and tighter turns, and it makes it better for me. I always do better when the river's lower.
We toned her back a little bit since last year. We're going a little more consistency. If we can hold 107, 108, we're happy. You know, we have the ability to go faster than that, but we just want to be real consistent right around there.
We run the bank, run right by it next to the bank. Don't tell anybody that. That's the secret to that. When you get out in the middle of the river, you're going to get pressure rollers all the time, but up close to the bank, it's pretty smooth.
We're real confident our motor won't break. Just a matter of keeping the boat in the river.
It's a lot of fun. It's a challenge. It's a great adrenaline rush. You know, where else can you run down the river 30 miles at 90 miles an hour through white water and everything?
Got tired of watching everybody else race and having to work and looking like it's a lot of fun, and so I went ahead and jumped into it, and now we're racing.
It's a Jetcraft Eagle, and it's got a 468-inch Chevrolet. Runs just a click under 700 horse.
Me and my brother started about New Year's Eve with 5 sheets of aluminum and built the boat ourselves, the motor, the trailer, we've done it all. It started out as a labor of love, but we got pretty tired of it before we got it done.
Never ran this boat on this river before, never been down it. We didn't get a chance to do a pre-run on Friday. So we came into some real surprises on the way down. It started blubbering out. We beached it twice. The last time we beached it up an embankment about 30 feet. I figured this one would be a piece of cake after surviving the Salmon River, but I was wrong. It's got some rough stuff in there. It's got some real rough stuff.
It's a real fun river. I think it's going to be one of the #1 contenders for the World Championships in 2000.
I'd like to take first or second, but I don't think we're going to do anything in this race unless everybody breaks down.
they maneuver pretty good. But when you're sitting on real flat water and you're coming up to riffles and big waves, they come up real fast and you got to find your line real quick.
Kind of just got a wild hair one day and decided to go out and buy a sprint boat. We just kind of went from there, and then we decided we needed a bigger boat and wanted to go a little bit faster.
I thought we did good, but my brother's not too impressed right now, I don't think.
Survivors of the third leg are able to share a laugh, burning off nervous energy.
Did you get us coming through done? I heard about a slick spot right above the big rollers where a guy could sneak through there, and I tried it this morning. We missed it. We speared one of the big rollers and threw the boat in the air, but we made it. We just took on some water.
Racers must coax one more run out of their tired ships. The all-important final leg.
Rule reads you have to finish your last leg of the last day to place.
We've been having bad luck since we got here. We broke our intake on our pump and had to spend all night Friday night welding that back together. And we've been having some kind of engine trouble. We can't seem to figure it out. We think we might have found it so we can run up. We have to complete this leg in order to hold our place.
With caution, the last rapid is passed. It's time to reflect on the Wild Rogue weekend.
You could be a hero or a zero real quick.
Waves are about as tall as the boat is.
I like competition. That's why I race.
A bit more of a crowd pleaser going upstream, get more air, things like that. Gets people excited.
I don't think I was going too fast.
I didn't see anything I was scared of.
We went through several trees and did a couple of 360s on the beach.
The race results from Grants Pass Boatnik weekend look like this. Justin Boyce takes first place in the Unlimited class. Jeff Laird tops out in A class. And Barry Pelkey wins the B class.
you just got to be on the ball, and there's a lot of good drivers out here, and you know, my hat's off to every one of them, and it was a great race.
It's always been my dream to come back here and have the jet boats here and win. And the crew, they did a great job. You know, we drove hard, had our problems we had to work through, but all in all, it was a good race. I think it's a great event for Grants Pass, and we had a blast.
The Golden Glow of California now calls racers to the mighty Klamath and Redwood country. This is the North Coast, where land meets the sea, home to giant trees, Bunyan and the Babe, and the legend of Bigfoot.
The film that you see on TV, when they do talk about him, is where that film was taken, was probably 15 miles from here or so.
Road 223 leaves at 03. Road 357 leaves at 04. 111 leaves at 05. 109 leaves at 06. 199 leaves at 07.
It's flat water and fast for many a mile as the race camera on boat 357, Donnie Smith, captures the broad mouth of California's Klamath.
It's endurance. We call it the Klamath Dino.
Drivers will cover some 40 miles between the old Klamath town site and Wichipec, with Coon Creek Rapid to conquer.
The river is extremely high this year. There's some water on it that'll get you.
Here's the field for the annual running of the Lower Klamath. Unlimited class finds Tim Harding of Gold Beach, Oregon in boat 333, challenging Justin Boyce, Donnie Smith, and Brian Pine from Guam, resurrecting the Kiwi boat 354. A class is a three-way tangle with Robbie Pierce, Jeff Laird, and Bruce Mills. B class finds newcomers Mike Galvin in boat 199, Plum Crazy Tony Beard in boat 101, joining Val Ramsdell, Jim Van Tress, Barry Pelkey, and Ben Rasher. C class finds Klamath's own Jesse LaForest, boat 16, Canada's Mike Rowe in 66, and Sacramento, California's Denny Forrester in the River Raider. those are the boats to finish the first leg.
This right here is a major endurance race. Your motors have to hold together, you can't get caught daydreaming, and hopefully everything works out okay.
We were chasing Laird, which everybody knows Laird's fast, so we ran hard and came upriver and we saw him broke, so we backed out just a little bit, just to kind of save our motor because we got 3 more legs of this. It's a long river.
The air more than we're on the water, going through some of those areas. People like to watch lots of hammering and jumping and catching air, so that's what we do.
We've never been on a river in our life. We bought Mark Cromie, who's a world champion from New Zealand. His boat came up for sale. It was like a fate. We showed up, it was for sale, we bought it, and now this week we're here racing it. It mixes off-road racing with high horsepower, fast-packed fun, and a lot of good people.
It's not a salmon river by any means, but it's a fun river. It puts a lot of pressure on the boat. That bottom end, it's got 30 miles of just drag racing. I hate that. It's really hard on the equipment because you got to run hard to stay up. But here in the top 10 miles is a lot of fun. It's got a lot of rollers in the middle, a lot of rocks, and it's got a couple of big rapids. So yeah, we've just been staying on the banks, staying out of that big stuff.
You're racing the river more than the other people. I mean, you're racing them for times, but it's really the river you're racing. I hit some of those swells, I go straight up in the air. I spend a lot of time in the air.
This is a river here that tests engines, no doubt. There's something to say about running rough water, but there's also something to say about making an engine live at wide open throttle for 30 miles.
A lot of heat, a lot of mass turning in there, and if you did that in your car, it wouldn't last for 2 or 3 miles. It's high water like this, got a lot of pressure rollers, you have to be careful, and you'll start up a straight stretch and be on it, and all of a sudden you're airborne, and you have to be real careful.
We got in the air 2 or 3 times. No, I wasn't taking in the thought sights. I was thinking about Coon Creek Falls, and I always think about that. Actually, there's a couple other places that, there's some sneakers out there, you have to watch for it.
You just got to keep focused. You just can't be daydreaming. You just got to keep
your eyes straight ahead and just watch for the rocks and the ground swells. There's a lot of water in the river now.
I wish I had some wood to knock on, but I haven't even hit one rock yet. Got about 30 miles of just twisting flat water, which is something I just absolutely love. I just love turning the corners real hard, and this boat's real good for speed in that.
Got to be crazy and insane to do it, and kind of adrenaline junkie thing. Hey, me and my old man used to do it, and I had to kick him out, and we had to get a little bit younger group.
For the fun of running the river, I like running it lower. There's more defined channel, there's more rock bars to watch out for. It's just a funner, it's more like a slot car race when it's lower. You got to get up and down the river 4 times. You got to. If you don't, you're not in.
And for racers still running, a clouded over Klamath is the order of day 2.
We just kind of limped up here because we kind of had problems along the way and just kind of took it easy on the way up. So I really was conservative on the way up so we could get back down. It's a lot of work, but I want to give thanks to all the people that helped me out because it's a good sport to be in. Everyone helps everyone. So
I'm having a real good run today. Everything's just falling together, and the engine and the pump are just working beautifully together.
Made it up in one piece. Took a good beating, but made it up. But we just haven't had a real strong, clean run yet this year. We're still in the points, still running, but the Klamath hasn't been any better to us than it has in the past.
111 leaves at 05.
Made it through 3 races and headed for the 4th one, hopefully. One more leg here.
The Klamath looks to deliver a final knockout blow. Yet for those surviving the third race in the U.S. Championship Series, there is grudging respect from the land of Bigfoot. In the results from the Klamath River Marathon, it's Tim Harding, boat 333, winning the unlimited class. Robbie Pierce pedals to the A-class victory. Ben Rasher shows his speed taking B-class. And Jesse LaForest drives to victory in C-class. Now the end is near as racers return to a river wild. It's Oregon's stunning south coast, basking in windswept sunshine. At last, the marathon makers are at Gold Beach, where the Rogue River flows to the Pacific. It's the setting for the climax to the U.S. Jet Boat Race Marathon Championships.
Snowpack this year and a lot of rain late. The river's up probably almost twice of what it normally would be.
Racers have come early to size up the flow, to figure out how to cope with the roiling road.
This river changes constantly. The 6 times I've been here, it's always a different river. There's a few rocks here and there we're gonna have to watch out for, but other than that, it's gonna be a wide open race the whole way.
Looks like it ought to be a fun race. Fast and fun.
Oh yes. We tipped the boat up on its side coming down through there last year.
Here's the field for the Rogue River Jet Boat Race. The unlimited foursome, Donnie Smith in boat 357, Tim Harding, boat 333, Justin Boyce in 316, and Brian Pine in 354. A-class features the battle between 223 Robbie Pierce and Jeff Laird in boat 211. The U.S. Championship is on the line. Dwayne Longfellow returns in 244, along with Dean Miles in 212 and Idaho's Chuck Thompson in 280. B-class features Ernie Fields in boat 115 and Barry Pelkey in 116, along with Val Ramsdell in boat 111, Ben Rasher in 109, Dave Provost in 182, Jim Van Tress in boat 139, and Joel Shepard in 114. C-Class finds newcomers Randy Sundberg of McKinleyville, California in boat 34, and Southern Oregon's Joe Ross in number 7, battling Jesse LaForest in boat 16. The race starts at Jott's Resort at the mouth of the Rogue, passing beneath the landmark Highway 101 bridge span. Rapids with names like Wee Riffle, Shasta Costa, and Old Diggings lurk on the 38-mile run to Foster Bog.
This river here is a drag race till you get in the last 4 miles. We're gonna just pedal along and run somewhere around 100 and be careful.
We didn't have enough money to paint the boat, so we just kind of polished it and called it good.
It was a rough run down below. We ran over a sandbar right off the get-go, and it plugged up our water lines and cost us about 5 minutes getting them unplugged. But other than that, we had a good run.
We had problems ourselves. Lost our drain plugs out of our block, and the boat was halfway full of water. So every time we'd go through something rough, all the water would come to the front of the boat, stuff our nose into the big rapids.
Plan was to run relatively hard in the flat water, calm down a little bit in the big water, and get ourselves up here.
It's a pretty nice drive. There's some rocks you have to pay attention to, but we made it in 23 minutes and 10 seconds.
Smoked everybody up on the upriver leg, but I'm going to knock on wood because I don't know what's going to happen going down.
This racing, truthfully, is the most dangerous racing in the world. The motor dies, you have no steering. You have no brakes on this boat. You have no reverse. So go from there at 100 and some miles an hour.
So the helmet goes on one more time. The marathon reduced to a boat ride up the river and a return trip down. 2 races, 2 titles, the Rogue River Race and the U.S. Championships.
It's our first time up the river, and about Nail Keg where Ramsdale hit, we hit another rock there and lost our steering. Our boat's so quiet, our motor quit, and that's where our steering went. I told my navigator, said, we got no steering. And I said, jump. It was too late for him to jump. I jumped overboard about 50 miles an hour, and the boat went up in the rocks. So we got our heads about us, and I had to swim ashore and looking around for Josh, and he poked his head up out of the boat and said, "You okay?" And he said, "Yeah." So we pushed her back in the water and mashed her back down the river, and we finished.
Is it worth it?
Oh, yesterday I would have told you no, but today I'm ready to get a faster boat.
One left, and we're still running. We didn't hit anything coming up, so we did good. You know, you can run 3/4 of the river wide open. Whenever you got a river like that, you break motors. The motor needs the time through the rapids to cool off. I used to have a grandpa that run whiskey back years ago. And that was his nickname, of course, bootlegger. So me and my grandpa got along really good. So, and he loved this. So when he died, I just said, well, he said, you should put that on your boat. So that's what I did. We have a good time when we come down. We don't always win, and we don't always place, but found a long time ago that if you're just finishing these things, your boat ain't working good, don't try to push it because you'll wreck it. Just finish it. You'll usually finish in the money.
We were coming up through Wee Ripple, just a wee too fast, and we hit a sinker and spun it out there, which wasn't too much of a problem. We did it on the Klamath, we got the boat back going, went upriver and only lost a minute or so. But with this time we started cranking on the starter and it just went out on us.
I love this river. It's a nice river, it's a fun river to race. It's a fast river. You get down in the canyon, it's real narrow, big rocks, you know. You come around total blind corners, you can't see anything. It's just an exciting river to race. We knew Laird would be pushing hard, and Laird with his trim can run faster downriver because of the wind. He can trim his boat. We don't have a trim or a fixed trim. So I knew that we needed to make our time coming upriver because he'll probably make a little better time going downriver.
Theoretically, I got to beat him by 1 second going downstream. We're turning 6,000 RPM in a big block Chevy. I always want to go faster, but it seems like we're going fast enough.
I just run it as hard as I can, up and down. That's what I do. If a guy gets going too slow, it's not so good because you drop in between the swells. So it's easier just to go faster and you stay on top of them. And that's how I kind of run it.
It's definitely a thrill seekers type sport. It's a rush for sure. The wind will pick the boat up and carry it a little bit and set it back down and just do the best you can to keep it in the river.
This is something I remember all year long, you know. This is our big thing for the year of racing. It's given me a thrill. I think it's given my navigator a heart attack.
Boat's working great. It didn't miss a lick on the way up, and we had a really smooth run up. We're gonna stand on it a little more downriver and possibly, you know, get up low 90s. So we're gonna put the wood to it downriver, because the more points I can get, you know, the better it is for the championship series, and that's what we're after now. Is we want to win the championship. As expensive as this sport is, I just figured that would be a good name. Bad Habit.
I think the main thing we need is, for the whole racing industry, is we need sponsors for our racing to help people, you know, get better things to finish these races. Doing this is like taking your engine and putting it on a dyno in somebody's machine shop for 30 minutes. You know, crank it up to 6,000 RPMs and go to lunch and come back, and if you got something left, you got a good jet boat motor.
We're only ahead by probably about a little over a minute right now, so, but we'll run her wide open all the way down. We used to race A-class, and this is just more fun because I don't have to work on the boat as much. You know, you just kind of get in and go. It's just a stock motor.
Anytime you can get up to the finish line or whatnot in any race, it certainly makes you feel good. Take it in hard charge on the flat areas and stuff, but make sure you get through the rapids. People who are in it now are running strong, and we only got one leg left, so downriver.
At the finish of the Rogue River Jet Boat Race, it's Tim Harding winning the Unlimited class in record time. Robbie Pierce captures A class, Ernie Fields tops B class drivers, and Jesse LaForest takes C class. In the race for the U.S. Championship, each driver has amassed points based on how they placed at each race during the marathon circuit. Point totals determine the U.S. champion in each class. In C class, it's Jesse LaForest from Klamath, California, with 3 racers tied for second.
I'm the hometown hero.
In B class, Medford, Oregon's Val Ramsdell noses out Barry Pelkey for top honors, with Ernie Fields third.
It's a kind of a personal challenge just being able to conquer the river.
A class finds Jeff Laird of Gold Beach on top of the pile, with Robbie Pierce second and Dwayne Longfellow third.
I like competition. That's why I race.
And in the Unlimited class, Medford's Donnie Smith wins it all, with Tim Harding second and Justin Boyce third.
I think we did pretty good for our first real year of racing. You know, we've tried hard, and the old blower motors held together, and looking forward to Riggins again next year.
It has been a marathon to match any endurance competition in the world of racing. And as long as there are rivers and rapids to run, racers will challenge whitewater in a test of true champions.
There's some water upriver here that's not even navigable with a raft.
It's part of how we live our life. It's a really good time.
The very best thing is all these people. That's the best thing about it.
We need to go to work to pay for all of our fun time.
Must have lost my mind, huh?
I'm just going like a scared cat.
I'm still going through puberty.
At the very, very end, it's friendship and things like that. And
these boats aren't designed to go much over 100, so right. You know, we're playing on the edge with them.
guys are all right. I'll take it.